of the
It's
of the
I gotta
of the
click it.
YouTube page anymore. You got to go to the live, and then you finally find it. Huh.
I figured it out. I think it's working. Let's see if the
Oh,
bits
look at those facial expressions. Great.
Griffin looks
Which
like he's getting
ones are
his
they gonna be?
Griffin looks like he's getting his first prostate check.
We kind of all do. Actually, I do. Griffin does, and you look like you're watching them both at the same time. Oh my God.
Oh man. There's no go live happening here. Oh,
There we go.
here it is. How many Cult of Mac staff does it take to turn a live stream on? Okay. Boom! And we're live. Yeah, sorry about that. I tried something new, and of course I've tried it. It's something I've never tested before in my entire life, and I tried it in our live situation, which is always not a good situation. But yeah, we got it working. All right, you want some tweet action here, Lewis, before we get this thing rolling?
Nothing would please
We
me
got
more.
Caveman here. We got Dipsy Do presents. That's all we need. We're ready to roll. Let me close this. Oh, I probably shouldn't close that because that contains my tweet action. And for some reason, my tweet action has been redacted. So let me go ahead and put that in the tweet box. Put that in your tweet box and smoke it.
Box. What exactly would a tweet box look like?
I don't think I want to know.
Don't ask, Lewis. Don't ask.
That's where that facial expression comes into play.
Why don't you ask Prison Lou? I bet he could tell you. Put that in your tweet box. All right.
Oh, geez, you spelled peak the wrong way.
Is it Pique?
This is one of the most abused homonyms on the planet.
PK? I can't put the little accent in there, Lewis,
Come on.
but I can change the spelling.
Please do. Thank God.
All
the
right.
worst one that is for me is when people say could of like
Good.
OF instead of HAVE.
That's a Midwestern thing, isn't it?
Wait. HAV? What? Could have?
HAVE.
Oh, okay.
Could have. Even though people pronounce it could of, but then people spell could OF, which is wrong.
Kid OF. That sounds like a rapper name. All right, we got.
That's Lewis's rapper name.
Could
I can't.
OF.
I can't wait to hear his album, his breakout album. We got Lover Remix has just joined. We got Brad Mac Pro complaining about the lack of tweet action. Is that out the door, Lewis?
Well, yours is, right?
Yeah, it is.
I'm so taken aback by the misspelling of the word peak. I have a hard pressed to I guess I just have to do it.
Carlos L is missing a work meeting because of this. I'm not sure this is a good use of his time.
Probably
But-
better use of time than the meeting.
That actually probably is true. This is going to be a hot one, so it's good that you're here. This is something that you guys need to watch live, and we're about to dive into the show. I was going to say we're about to go live, but we're kind of already there, aren't we? All right, should we just go ahead and get this thing rolling? I think we're ready to move. I've dazzled you with my wittiness. Okay, great. I'm making the executive decision.
Something went wrong. Tweet didn't tweet. Oh, I bet it's because you changed it.
Oh, maybe it changed like the...
Oh, God.
Yeah,
See?
maybe it was the facial expressions.
Something went wrong with Twitter. Unimaginable.
Hey.
Hey, you would think that considering that Elon fired like 80% of their work staff, you'd see that more often. But I swear it works just as well, if not better than it used to.
Dude, you spelled it the other wrong way.
PK?
EEEK.
I even ran it by you before I hit.
Well,
edit.
I thought you were kidding.
No.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
I kind of want to leave it, to be honest.
Oh, God.
We get a peek.
See, now this is Twitter in action. It's so good. it won't allow me to quote tweet that thing because it's just such an obnoxious.
All right.
Obnoxious.
For some reason, I had pique your interest in my mind.
There we go.
We were
Now you
talking
got
about
it.
piquing interest.
I know. I understand.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No one's gonna see the tweet anyway. We're talking about
It's out.
the
It worked.
iPhone testing lab.
Okay.
No one cares, Lewis.
Let's start.
All right. I think we're ready to roll. Let me go ahead and cue up Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Mrs. D. It's very loud today. Oh, my dear. I piqued Leander Caney's interest last night. Oh, boy. Here we go. In a sensual encounter. Ugh. I gave him a peek at something. Oh, no, it gets worse, Lewis. My bosom. Oh, my.
Does not conjure a good image.
Oh, yeah. Mrs. D, please.
I mean, they say there are things you can't unsee, but there are things you can't unsee that you never saw.
The visual image is even worse. It's worse than the actual image because it was created in your mind's eye from whence it shall never be deleted.
Ugh.
You know, with therapy.
I don't know. I'm
hypnotherapy.
running short on RAM. Might not be a problem.
Oh my goodness. Let's keep this thing rolling before it completely goes off the tracks. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, we're ready to get the show rolling. I got the buttons queued up, and I will be pressing them in 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Eric Elijah. Join me today. When he goes on any of his multiple yearly trips to Italy, he only packs several things: some Speedos, some gold chains, and one golden pinking ring. He's the magic editor of CultCast. Lewis Wallace is here.
Speaking of things you can't unsee.
I was just going to say that. So 2 for 2. Also with us, his camera of choice saves images to a 3.5-inch floppy disk, which can hold almost 22 pictures. CultCast writer and Asian tech enthusiast, Griffin Jones is here.
Even in your joke intro, you overestimated the number of pictures that I can fit on a Sony Mavica floppy
Wasn't it
disk.
18?
16.
It was 16.
Wow.
I almost went like 100. I was like, that doesn't sound right.
16.
And it can record a 3-second, very heavily compressed video.
3 seconds
them?
video.
Yep.
Isn't that called a GIF?
On one. It has a hint of sound.
I love that they devoted engineering resources to figuring out how to do a video when it could only be 3 seconds long. What are you supposed to do with a 3-second video?
Host it on your homepage on the
On your iLife
information
website?
superhighway.
Oh, that was a good one.
That
The
is hilarious.
information Superhighway.
All right, look, we got actually a lot of stuff to talk about here today. And I think at least half of it is going to be somewhat interesting. The rest, well, I'll leave that to you to let me know. We're going to talk about some of the cool new home screen personalization options coming in iOS 18. Griffin's going to rivet us with these new choices. We're going to talk about some of the Gen AI features that are coming, including the ability to create your own custom emojis. This, of course, is going to be a big thing, because Apple's going to be touting all of their AI features and making it seem as though they're not behind at all in the AI game coming to WWDC, which, by the way, well, let me finish what I'm saying here, and then I'll do a couple of quick announcements. I'm going to tell you all about a AirTag alternative that I think actually might be more useful than AirTags. Lewis is going to give us a peek behind the way Apple tests iPhones and tortures iPhones so that they can make them more durable for all of us. And we're going to wrap up with an all-new What We're Into, where we talk about the stuff that we are currently liking, which may not be tech-related, which is usually not tech-related. And it could be shows. It could be anything outside of the world of tech. So we'll wrap up with that. a couple of just really quick announcements. I did release our newest CultCast Off Topic, which is horrendously late. It's out the door. We got it out the door. So it's Lewis and I reviewing the first half of the Fallout show on Amazon Prime. So it's spoiler-free, which is always a little tricky because I kind of feel like when you do it spoiler-free, you can't necessarily say anything that's specific enough to talk about the actual show. But I think we nailed the tone and what we liked and what we didn't. I'm going to release episode 2 either tonight or tomorrow. I already have it done. I almost released it yesterday, but I was like, I'll tease him a little bit, make him wait for it, right, Lewis? Make him wait. And
I mean, season 2 is probably going to arrive before that.
I promise we will get it out the door before season 2 arrives. So that one's right around the corner. And then I would really love your feedback. If you've listened to the episode, just ping me on Twitter and let me know like what you think of it. Like, would you prefer us to do a spoiler review of the show? I kind of go both ways. Like when I watch reviews, I like watching reviews that include spoilers if it's been a while. But if it's brand new, I prefer to not watch spoiler stuff because I often haven't seen the content yet, but I want to know what people think of it. And so that's kind of like what we're going for here.
Without the timely part.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, timing. Timing is a broad category, Lewis. Some people get to things later than others. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the show just ended. It's only been a couple of weeks.
We're not talking about the second Van Halen record or anything.
Right. Well, we might talk about that next week. But we're calling... I came up with a segment that I thought was kind of catchy. Irf and Lou Review. Irf and Lou Review. : whatever topic you want goes there. And then we just... I mean, now, if Griffin could be a part of it, too. We probably won't change the name, but... he could definitely come in.
Irf and Lou Review and Griffin 2. Starts to be a little long.
Irf Lou and Griffin 2 Review. That's what we could do for the... I like that we're name shopping this
trips
here.
Off the tongue a little bit there.
It is kind of hard to say. The Griff riff. If he does like a solo Irf and Lou Review featuring a Griff riff, if he happens to join in. I do like this. This is why our segments always kill on YouTube, because when you come up with a name like that, people can't help but maybe click on it.
Click away.
Well, those thumbnails get them in, Lewis. Those thumbnails get them in.
Those are quite appealing.
The content keeps them there. And then the other thing I wanted to announce just real quickly is I know some of you are waiting for your CultCloth orders. I'll talk about CultCloth later in the show. Well, actually, I should probably just do it now. We did get restocked. This keeps happening. I'm sorry. It keeps happening. We keep running out. We have to order more.
Hard to be popular.
Yeah. When you're getting 75 to 80 orders per minute, it's hard to keep track and hard to keep up with that. So we will have those shipped out today. So I always appreciate everyone's patience on those because this continues happening. And I don't like that it happens, but it's kind of hard to keep them in stock because sometimes there's supply chain issues even now for us. So, but they're restocked and we should have those orders shipped out soon. And if you haven't ordered any CultCloth yet, well, look, not only are you getting yourself the best way that I have encountered to keep your gadgets, your lenses, your Apple Watch, your iPad, your TV sparkling clean, just like the day that you bought it. But you are supporting me, you're supporting the show, which I deeply appreciate. And there's just nothing that works as well as CultCloth. And like many cleaning cloths are just very flat and they don't have the same design as CultCloth do, so their fibers are not as good at picking up dirt and grime. And so they just don't clean as well. And our fibers going through the special process being broken down so that they have a lot of extra surface area helps them clean better. They're also very densely woven, which you'll see when you first get one. You're like, wow, this thing is thick. That boy thick, as the meme goes. And also with our CultCloth Duo, it has a dual fiber design. So on one of the sides, it has a very long fiber, which reaches down past the cracks and crevices and will keep your cracks and crevices sparkling clean, pulling out all the stuff that gets in there, between the rim of your glasses and the actual glass portion. You know, like normally when you wipe them down, all that stuff just gets pushed to the sides and you can't get it out. But with CultCloth, you can actually get a sparkling full clean. A sparkling full clean. I kind of like that. A sparkling and full clean. CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co. Use code CultCast at checkout to get a free carry cloth with orders $20 plus at CultCloth.co. And I appreciate everyone who has supported and will support at some point in the future. I know how you all love to fork it over, and I just really appreciate that about all of you. Okay, we're going to the Grifster for, the first 2 stories. Hog them all, Griffin. Hog them all. I mean, Lewis going to get to say anything in this episode? I can't believe this.
It's not like these are game-changing stories. None of them. It's the week before WWDC. What else is happening?
Oh, hold on. Wait. I'm sorry. I completely forgot to mention. This is going to be another announcement. So,
week and a half.
It's a week and a half, and we are going to be doing another predictions episode. Is that going to be? It's going to happen next week, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Next week is the predictions. So send me your suggestions in the Cult Club or in the comments or on Mastodon or on Twitter for things you think we should predict. Your predictions. You've listened to the game before, just like a couple weeks ago. You get a sense of the style for the things that we all vote on. We'll put down our predictions. We'll vote on them. We'll see how badly I lose this time.
Yeah, and we got to do something to unseat Lewis. After what happened last time, it was a bloodbath, and I'm still not happy about that situation, Lewis.
Maybe we should do a little collusion.
I hadn't thought about that. Should be texting in real time or something. We're also gonna tighten up the game so that we're all putting our answers in real time, because I'm tired of giving everyone the answers with my advanced reasoning and logic abilities.
If your theory held true, we would all have the exact same answers, because we would all mimic your beautiful, beautiful answers.
Well, sometimes when you're thinking about going one way and I convince you not to, and you're like, oh, that's a good point, and then you can glom on to my answers, but then you also get a chance to enter your own answers if you want. So, like, I think you benefit by hearing everyone else's logic and then making a decision.
Okay, well, to that I say, you had won the previous 2 games before last week, and I think last time it was like the October of 2023 game. Airfly came in first place, Lewis came in last place, and you know what? This time, because the order changed, Lewis went first and he won.
I think I went last.
Yeah, I think you went last.
I went last.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. Lewis went last, and then he won this game. It's a balancing system.
It's because in previous shows I withheld my answers.
God.
I didn't lay it all out. And last time I was way too revealing with my logic and reasoning, and I think it was a crutch for Lewis.
Okay, well, you volunteered that information. The order that we go in doesn't change. Like, you don't have to spill out all of that. But another point is
I can't help it. I'm a giving person.
Although I listen to you and respond to what you say on the show, I don't respect you, and so that doesn't mean that what you say is actually going to affect my opinion.
You say that, but I think subconsciously your brain knows you should probably go with my answer. And so even though you can't admit that you actually just take what I say and repeat it in your own words, we know that it's happening. I mean, it's just so obvious. So I think there is that aspect of it as well, but that's okay. We don't have to relitigate all this right now for the live show. We've been live for 20 minutes, and we haven't actually
still content free.
We actually haven't talked about anything yet. So anyway, I digress. That's my fault. I took us away from the topic at hand. Take it away, Griffin, for the next 18 stories. Lewis and I will hear. We'll just rest our eyes.
Okay. Well, don't listen too close, or else then you'll copy my answers for the prediction. Okay. iOS 18 could bring new home screen personalization options. iOS 18 will reportedly let iPhone users change app icon colors on the home screen. Plus, you'll finally be able to put icons anywhere you want. You won't have to follow the rigid, irritating, annoying grid of like every icon has to go left to right, top to bottom. Jesus, it's 2024. You can finally do that in a few weeks. They couldn't work it out until now. In the latest edition of the Power On newsletter, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says he thinks users will be able to, quote, change the color of app icons For instance, you can make all your social icons blue or finance-related ones green. They won't need to be they won't need to be placed in the standard grid. So right now, Apple has an API where developers can make custom app icons for their app, and if the app you're using supports this, then you can pick which icon you want. But it's kind of a niche feature, and not everybody adopts that because Facebook wants their Facebook Blue app to be blue and their exact shade of blue as dictated by their marketing department, so you can't change that. And a lot of people don't really know where to look for that stuff because it's not a system-wide feature. So Apple's implementation could be easier to use. And a lot of people want to be able to change their app icons because you want to have a theme. You want your home screen to look nice. The phone is a device you use every single day, like many, many times a day. You want it to look good, and especially since they introduced like theming your lock screen and the home screen widgets. A lot of people are making these custom aesthetics, and except for the pile of clown vomit that is like all of these different app icons that you have to work around. So I think this could be really interesting, but I'm really curious how it'll work. Because again, if it's a thing that developers have to opt into, then nobody's going to enable it. It'll be exactly the same as the situation it is now. But I guess my question is is Apple going to let users override the color of their app icon so you can turn Facebook brown if you want?
Appropriate.
And does this
What do you all think?
Does this have anything to do with their AI features that are upcoming? Would you be able to churn all your finance apps a certain color?
That's another question. A lot of people,
Just say it.
Some people were speculating that maybe when you upload an app icon, through App Store Connect, and you recompile your app for iOS 18, the app icon will have a separate layer that you can determine this is the layer of the app that people can change the color of, but this other app or this other icon, this other part of the icon has to stay fixed to this color, but they'll have a layer that you can change the color of. Other people are saying, well, maybe it will be entirely AI powered, where it's they run the app icon through an AI model that tries to recolor it for you.
Huh.
I don't know. It's an open question.
Yeah, it seems like it would be easier to do it that way than to, I don't know, do this per icon, or maybe you could batch edit them in some way to, it would be really cool to create a minimalist theme where they're all black and white or gray or something, so that you don't have so many different competing colors that are going on your screen. You can already change some of the icons, but I think that is only because some of the apps allow you to change the icon inside the app, which I have actually done in some instances, and then I forget that I changed it, and I can never find the app again after that because it's a completely different look to it. But I'm also curious to see how they implement these icons don't need to exist on a grid anymore, which I think is also what Gurman said, which means you'll be able to just move them freestyle anywhere you want them to go, like you can on your Mac. That could be interesting. Actually, I don't know. I mean, that actually could be interesting. So you could just have them all surrounding an image or something. Because right now you have those backgrounds on your home screens, but you can never see them because they're always, covered by icons. So it's hilarious to me that we're even talking about this. I mean, this is something that you've been able to do on, Android phones. Probably all the way. You could probably do this on the Zune at some point, the brown Zune, if you wanted to. And we haven't been able to do this on iPhone, but I'm all for this. I think it's cool. I mean, any kind of freedom they allow us to have to move things around to our heart's desire. I mean, you don't have to use it, obviously, and if you want to, then it kind of gives you some more freedom. I don't know. Any thoughts on this, Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool. Some people put so much time into this. I remember I don't remember which version of iOS came out, but it allowed some of this kind of stuff, and people were going crazy making all these different layouts and stuff. And I always look at it and say, wow, that's really cool. And also, I cannot imagine spending 10 minutes doing this. So I don't know.
The thing is, it's been the same way that it has been for so long that it's just trained me to think that any wasted space on my home screen is any empty space is wasted space, because the purpose of the home screen is to launch apps. So I should completely fill my home screen with apps and there shouldn't be anything showing in the background. But I know that that's kind of unusual. A lot of people want to have a picture there, and some people will like intentionally leave a blank home screen just so they can look at the picture. And it would also be nice, even if you're like me, if I want to put an app icon, on, row 2, position 3, that I can just put it directly there. I don't have to think about jiggering them so that it's in the right place in the line and they all move around.
That is so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could also end up in a situation where they have backgrounds with specific placement for app icons so that like the app icons actually become a part of the background. That would be pretty cool. And then when you swipe, I imagine when you swipe, they maintain their position as you swipe back and forth between pages, so that all your apps can like fit within like those little squares within the background or something. Anyway, we've talked about this for way too long. Do you want to move to the next story here, Griffin? I think we beat this one sufficiently.
Yeah. Wait, well, remember how the iPhone 6 Plus, 6S Plus, and 7 Plus, how you could turn the home screen landscape? I want them to bring that back.
Oh, yeah. I
was
had
pretty
completely
cool.
forgotten that they did that. And I don't even know. When did they get rid of that? I don't even know.
They got rid of it with the iPhone 10.
Really? Huh,
I think the iPhone 8 Plus could still go landscape, but with the all-screen design, yeah, they got rid of it.
Okay.
I missed that.
I didn't even notice it was gone. I never used it, but I'm sure.
Well, if you keep your phone mounted horizontally in your car, then it was pretty nifty. You wouldn't have to
That's true.
turn it back on it. Anyways.
You know what? Just real quick, that is a great point. And sometimes when you're watching YouTube videos, well, if you're watching them in full screen mode and then you go back to the normal perspective and like you swipe to get rid of the screen, like now all your icons in the wrong places, like that actually would be useful in some scenarios to have your phone be able to be used in horizontal mode if you're going to be doing something horizontally. That's it. That's all I had to say about that. Take it away, Griffin.
All right.
Sign language.
Here's the other iOS 18 feature. iOS 18 could feature generative AI-powered custom emoji tool. Apple might use generative AI in iOS 18 to allow iPhone users to create custom emojis, letting them express themselves just the way they want. You can already use stickers in iMessage to add some spice and fun to your conversations. Apple makes it really easy to create stickers from any photo on your phone. If you're in the Photos app, you can just tap and hold on an element in a picture, and you can cut it out and use it as a sticker. I wrote a how-to on that. I'll link it in the show notes. The company will seemingly further build on this concept by using generative AI to create custom emoji. This way you can make emoji on the fly that perfectly describes the situation and your feelings. Mark Gurman also revealed details about smart recaps using AI. iOS 18 can summarize long text messages, whatever, everything that everybody else does. But generated emoji on the fly. Presumably this will I imagine it'll be closer to the sticker feature where it'll only be in iMessage and a few apps that support it manually, because it's emojis are built on a universal Unicode standard. It's not like you could take your custom emoji and type it into the blog on your website or the address bar in Safari or anything like that, because that's not really how emoji work. But in a group chat, that could be kind of fun. I think Facebook adopted this in Facebook Messenger, where they allowed you to use generative AI powered emojis, and people immediately started making really weird garbage with it, because they didn't put nearly enough restrictions on the AI. You can look up some of those stories, but they're kind of hilarious.
Oh yeah, there's definitely going to be some inappropriate ones for sure. Out of all the AI features that I've seen, the Gen AI emoji one is the one that I think I would probably use the most. I mean, recaps for your text messages. How long are your text messages? People need to learn text message etiquette. That's all I'm saying. If you're texting a paragraph to somebody, that is not what text message is supposed to be used for. I mean, am I wrong about this? My text messages are never more than 1 or 2 sentences. Anytime my dad texts me, it's 2 or 3 paragraphs. He will use dictation to send an entire monologue to me. And I'm ain't nobody trying to read through this much in a text message, not to mention you dictated it. So half the words are not even being used appropriately, and you're trying to figure out what they even mean. They shouldn't even allow. They should actively put a feature in to iMessage that prohibits you from sending a message that is more than 100 characters. That should be the absolute max. And just
you ever get a text message that's so long where you have to tap on it and it goes into a separate page to read the whole thing?
I have not seen that happen. But dude, some people text so long. It's rude. It is rude. You should not be sending that long of a message to anyone via text messages. It completely skirts the purpose of a message.
Yeah, but nobody reads email anymore. So what are you going to do? What if you actually have to get somebody, a certain amount of information?
Well, then you call them. You relay it via call. I don't know. Or you text them and say, hey, can you read my email?
I try to keep them under, 170 characters or whatever it is that the, because like I have to text people with Android phones. And I do hate like the thought of them getting like two different texts, thing broken up in half because, it's just too long.
Yeah. And it's only a certain class of person that tends to send these long ones. People that didn't grow up in the messaging life, those are the people that tend to do it. And, what are you going to do?
But honestly, like I conduct my business with the Airbnb almost exclusively through text message.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you actually have to give more information than, be right back, BRB. I mean, it's great for those kind of things, but sometimes.
And other times you want to send a trombone emoji. Then you find out that there isn't a trombone emoji. And how are you going to tell your Airbnb guests where the trombone is?
Yeah. Do they have a French horn emoji? I hope not.
They do.
But no trombone? They have a French horn, but no trombone. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that the Gen AI emoji thing actually will be super duper useful. Some of these other features I'm looking at, let me pull these up. Some of these other features they're talking about, smart recaps of your notifications. I don't know. How long does it take to scroll through your notifications? Maybe 10 seconds?
Way too long these days.
You think so? Okay.
No, but that's on me. That's me allowing too many things to notify me of things.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Summarizing web pages, yes, that is useful. Documents, yes, that is useful. The summarize of articles and the creating a TLDR is like that actually is useful. But actually, you know what? I take it back. Summarizing long messages, I'll finally know what my dad's tried to say to me in less than 5 minutes. So maybe I will use it. My favorite thing about that he does, as long as we're talking about it, he'll send me a text message and it has like 15 questions in it. It's like, did you do this? And did you do this? And did you do this? I'm like, dude, I'm not answering all these questions. There's no way. You have got to figure out what is the top 2 questions that you need answered. And then you got to judiciously, sprinkle those out into future messages. You cannot bombard someone with 15 messages. And then he gets annoyed and he's like, you didn't answer my questions. I'm like, dude, you asked me like 15 questions. Like, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes and answer your questions one by one for the next 30 minutes.
What a rebel. And to be clear, you call your dad dude.
Yeah, I call everyone dude, though. My wife, my kids.
I don't think I ever called my dad dude.
No, I'm just retelling the tale with some just regular everyday jargon.
Lingo.
Does anyone say dude anymore? Am I?
Apparently you do.
Am I going full? Am I going full boomer?
Young people still do.
Okay.
Well, Lebowski.
Yeah, but he was like 57. Lewis, that's my point. All right. I'm sorry. You guys didn't ask for that monologue, and I feel like I did that with way too much gusto. Which
you should have him send you like a reminder with a checklist on it or something.
Yeah, I don't know if he's that advanced. I hope he never watches this episode. It's gonna hurt his feelings that I criticized his message.
Oh, now you're looking baleful.
What more is there to talk about with this topic?
There's nothing, Lewis or Griffin. Yeah. Okay.
So what did you say? You're guessing probably only iMessage, right?
Yeah, and it'll probably like be built on top of like the regular sticker system, where like it'll mostly be made for iMessage, but you can do it in Snapchat too or Notes. For some reason, you can add stickers inside a note.
Right. So it won't be an actual emoji. It'll just be a little cartoon drawing generated by AI. It may or may not look like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Metal Mike 56 in the chat. My mother-in-law only texts via dictation. It's a mile long. Yeah, exactly. There's a whole class of people that do it, and we all know who they are, so we don't need to say it. But what we need is in the Gen AI, like, first of all, it needs to actually understand what they're saying, right? That's going to be a huge improvement. And so it sends you a dictation that's actually accurate. So that's going to be number one. And two, if it gets beyond a certain word count, it should just automatically send you a summary. Like that should be a feature, right? So anytime someone texts you more than X characters, it automatically sends you a summary. Here's what they're trying to say in 2 sentences or less.
Oh, you know what? You know what would be genius? They do that, and as the person sending it presses send, it says, your text was, 5,623 words long. An AI-generated summary has been sent to your recipient.
Yeah, or
so then it's a learning experience for the person who just did it.
Yeah. Or it gives them the option to send a summary. It's like, would you like to summarize? Would you like to also send a summary of this with your original?
I think it should say
should be required.
It will be summarized.
Should be the default option.
Yeah,
that would actually be pretty useful. I mean, the Gen AI stuff doesn't always get things right, so that could be an issue, right? Like it may misunderstand, but it's worlds better than anything I've seen Siri do so far. I mean, ChatGPT is just like otherworldly. It's so good. All right. I think those two stories are completely dead and buried. Let's move on. I want to show you guys a product that I think you might like. I haven't reviewed this product. They haven't sent it to me, although I should probably. We got to get them to send us some of these. I want to try these out. If you like the AirTag, I like AirTags too, but the problem is they're not always. The form factor isn't always practical, especially for your wallet or if you're trying to track something that you don't want to attach like an AirTag carrier to, right? And so there are these new products from Nomad. Let me pull this up. I'm going to send them an invoice for covering this story. I hope they pay it.
Jeez.
Slim new Find My tracking card from Nomad. But what makes this one special is this one is rechargeable via MagSafe. So there are other slim tracking cards that you can get. I tried one and I returned it because a lot of these have a disposable battery. Why does this look so terrible?
Are you going to show us to it? Show it to us.
I am showing it. It's on the screen
I'm not
right
seeing
now.
No, it's not.
It's on my screen.
Well, you're not
maybe
sure.
Maybe there's a lag. Hey, chat, let me know. Is the image super blown out? Are you guys seeing it like massively blown out?
Are they seeing it? Is the first question.
Hold on a second. This is not
user error.
Now I totally screwed it up. Hold on.
Hello, no. Future Griffin. Have fun editing this part out.
Are you making a note of this? You don't need to edit this part out. You can just leave it in. That's the fun part. Let me see if I can get this thing re-going. Yeah, sorry. It was it looked super blown out. Okay, everyone is saying that it is blown out. Okay, let me try. You guys are getting a backstage pass to the sausage factory here. Yeah, it's I took it down. Let me see here. There we go. Is that better? I think that's better. There we go. Yep, I fixed it. All right, just edit that whole thing out, Griffin. Or don't. You know what? Don't. I think people like hearing the live mistakes. It's like those little, parts of the song that you like that were mistakes. People love it.
Well, that's what people can use the live stream for. On the published audio, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, it actually still looks like it's blowing out. I have no idea why, but we're gonna roll with it now because it's gonna take me 5 more minutes to fix this thing. But the image actually looks okay. Oh no, it looks horrendous. Oh. Absolutely horrendous. I gotta fix it. Look at it. It looks terrible. Of course, that didn't fix it either. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to do this after the show. It's
I think last
totally
week was a
borked.
little brighter than normal as well, and I think the week before that it was a little bit darker. I thought you were doing it intentionally, so that the screen recording stands out from our lovely little faces.
No, our faces look fine. I mean, as fine as they can look, but the web preview looks terrible. I don't know why. Okay, well, anyway, let's just keep it rolling. I'll have to fix this afterwards. So there is this new Find My tracking card from Nomad, and you can recharge it. It's $40 for an individual card or $120 for a 4-pack. So it's not cheap. But these cards are so slim. They're a little bit thicker than a normal credit card, and you can keep them in your wallet. So you can't keep an AirTag in your wallet. If you want to track your wallet, you got to get one of those, ridiculous AirTag wallets, which add like a half or 3/4 of an inch of thickness to your wallet. Obviously not ideal. And so if you carry a slender wallet like I do, you could pop this in there and you'll always know where your wallet is, which, that's probably going to be the most obvious use for this card, is that you can keep track of your wallet because, you can't easily track your wallet without an AirTag, which is annoying. But more than that, I think that because this thing looks like a credit card, if someone does steal your wallet, they're not going to know what this is. Like, they're not going to just ditch it like they would with an AirTag, because everyone knows what AirTags are. And you don't have to keep this just in your wallet. Like, you could toss one of these in your backpack or in your car, and now you have a way to track things outside of just using a regular AirTag. And if a thief finds it, they're not going to really know that they should just toss it. Yeah,
I just thought of a pro tip. If you get one of these cards, tape your library card to the card. Or just mock up a fake library card. Actually, you should get a library card. That's my first pro tip. But then you should tape it to this thing so that they'll think, it's just a stupid library card, and they like the library so much that they put it on a special black placard thing.
Yeah, then they're definitely throwing it away. It's like, what's this library card? He just tosses it, But if it looks like a piece of technology, then maybe they would think that it is worth money or something. They would probably think it's like a key card to like your office or something. But so I'm going to see if Nomad will send us some of these. In fact, if anyone from Nomad, I think they follow me on Twitter. I wonder if I can reach out to them and get them to send me one of these things. But again, just to reiterate, these kinds of products do exist, but this is one of the few, if not one of the only, that is actually rechargeable. Normally, they ship with a fixed battery that can't be recharged, and yes, it may last a year, but once the battery dies, you have to throw the whole thing away, which is so super wasteful. And these ones actually let you recharge them, which is kind of the best of both worlds. I don't know if this works with the granularity that AirTag does, so I don't know if you could use this for your iPhone to show you, like, you're 5 feet away, go that direction. I don't think that part works, but it will show you the general location of where it is, and it works with the Find My app, which is obviously super useful.
It's not just rechargeable, it also works with Qi chargers and MagSafe chargers. And what I think they say it's like MagSafe compatible because it doesn't actually have magnets in it, so you don't have to worry about it like wiping any other cards in your wallet or anything. And if you look at the picture, the promotional picture shows somebody like holding it on top of like a MagSafe charger.
Oh, like, there you go.
So it doesn't stick to it?
It doesn't stick to it.
I think it actually does stick to it. I was reading more about it. I think that the metal that they used is actually able to be adhered to a MagSafe charger. So I think that it actually
doesn't have magnets inside it. So maybe I'd be curious to know.
But don't the MagSafe chargers have magnets inside them?
Yeah, but you need an opposite magnet of the opposite charge.
Or you need a piece of metal that they'll stick to, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
you don't want a magnetic thing in your wallet.
No, you don't.
It's metal.
But if it's just metal, then it will stick to. It won't stick to the MagSafe charger with the same veracity, if you will.
And it won't. It doesn't have the thing that keeps it a certain way, right? The positions it a certain way. But I bet you could just toss it on a magnetic one, and it sticks. Otherwise, why would they? Yeah,
I don't think it sticks with the same level of grip that it would if they both had magnets of opposite polarities. But I think that you still can stick it on. At least that's what I was reading. But this is so easily solvable. If Nomad would just give me free product, then I will test it out and I can report back.
When I heard this, I was like, wow, that sounds cool. But then my first thought was like, oh, wait a minute. It's rechargeable. Would you have to recharge it like every 3 days or something? But I was just reading our story. It says 5-month battery life.
It seems like it's pretty long.
That's good. That's impressive.
Great.
And
yeah.
So then it becomes something like, oh, well, no big deal. Like you get a little notification that it's running out of juice. You just pop it out and charge it up.
It's definitely enough time for you to, go full Rambo vigilante mode and go get your wallet back from the punks who stole it. It's definitely got enough battery life for that. So you get strapped up, head on over there, get that wallet back. You know what I'm saying, Lewis?
Yeah. And you know what, Griffin? You could use this as a bookmark for your library books.
There you go.
And then when you misplace the book, you'll always be able to find it because you'll have the little bookmark in it.
There you go.
That's true. My bookmark is currently a $1 bill because I figure a nicer bookmark than that would probably cost more than $1.
I just use Post-it notes.
That would be a good idea, but I don't have any Post-it notes.
I don't read books.
For the one book a year I read, I just use a Post-it note, you know?
It's so sad. I used to love reading books.
Yeah, me too.
And
when I was a
everything's
kid.
digital.
I know.
Jeez.
Who's got time? You know what I'm
The
saying?
smell of a book.
The book.
I'm surprised they don't make that like old library musty smell on like imbue that into Kindle book readers, you know?
Yeah, that
you
would
open
be...
up the Kindle and it smells like a library book.
Yeah,
every time you
that's a
open
feature
the
right there.
Books app in your iPhone, it emits it like a tiny mist.
Just shoots you in the face with this carcinogenic mist.
Coming to the iPhone 28.
You know what I love, Griffin? The smell I like. You'll probably identify with this. Walking into the band room full of old instruments. That's like the smell of
or just a music store as well.
Yeah, it's like the smell of like old wood and just years
dried up
of
spit.
saliva. Yeah.
And sweaty marching band uniforms.
And the sweat of 1,000 students reeking up the whole hall. Yeah, I love that. Okay, Lewis, that's all I got. You wanna talk about taking a peek at the Apple Store tests for water resistance? Get ready, folks. Get ready, folks. This was actually cool, and I'll bring up the story while you're going on.
Yeah. So this is cool. Marquez Brownlee, YouTuber guy, fantastic videos, very popular. He did this some kind of secret tour of the Apple product durability testing labs.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. He's got access, man. He's like,
I know, man. He's got so much access at Apple. They would never let anyone else do this. No way.
So he went in and looked at some of the things they use to test for water, water ingress. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome, really. This is one of those. I was thinking about this. It's like, wow, this seems like Apple is so amazing with their ability to do this stuff. But I think a lot of companies do this, but Apple's just finally gotten hip to like, oh, we show people a little bit of this stuff. It's kind of like what they used to do when Johnny Ive would come on and explain, orology or whatever, right? Like they just show you some of the work that they do, and it's like, it's fascinating. It's like that video from the production of the Vision Pro, which was just gorgeous to watch. So anyway, what they did is he goes in and the video. I don't know if you could show people this, but
showing it.
The video of like the way that they test for water, it's got like a sprinkler, almost looks like some super high tech version of a lawn sprinkler that you might have had in the 70s or whatever.
And then it cuts to another shot, and it's like a literal fire hose, like shooting water like 50 feet across at a poor little iPhone on the opposite wall. Yeah. That one made me laugh.
Oh, that one just came up.
They had another one where they put it like underwater, under pressure, to see how much it can take. And one of the things that, in addition to these robots and things that the tests that they were showing off, he talked with John Turnus, their Apple's hardware chief, and he was talking about the whole like repairability versus durability thing. And one of the things he was talking about was how, like, back in the old days, you get an iPhone, you spill your drink on it, it's done. And they had like, so much problem with inability to deal with liquids, right? And now it's, people drop phones in lakes and find them 2 weeks later and they work just fine. So he was talking about the whole thing, like how Apple gets kind of dinged for things are hard to repair. He's like, well, one of the reasons they're hard to repair is because they are incredibly durable and they last a long time. Kind of got sidetracked there. So there's two other videos he had aside from the interviews and the water test. He had a robot drop test. Did you guys watch this one?
Yeah.
Fun.
I thought this was one of the more interesting ones.
Goes and picks up the phone and jerks it over to a certain angle, sets it to a certain angle, and drops it at a certain thing. And it
looks like the kind of robot that you would see on a you're just trained, like when you see a robot like that, it's on a manufacturing line and it's like positioning these chips like within a micrometer. But no, this one just like throws it on the ground. It's hilarious.
Flings it in a very specific way. And it looked like Apple had, I didn't hear any video in this part of that video or any audio in this part of the video, but it looked like Apple has like piles of different like slate or concrete or steel or whatever, so that they could drop it on different surfaces. Is what it looked like. I'm not 100% sure that's what it was, but man, that thing was just flinging it. And the other thing that was fascinating about that is, Brownlee points out, Apple, not, they don't just drop it and see how it does, but they blast it with this high light, so that, and they film it in slow motion so they can watch all this stuff happen in slow motion and see exactly what happened and exactly what went wrong or what worked. And then the craziest one I thought was the shaker test. Did you guys see that one?
I got it playing right now. I didn't see this one.
So this is strapping an iPhone or an Vision Pro, right? There's a Vision Pro on there.
Yep.
They put it on this shaking table and they shake it at certain frequencies or whatever. So the video, like Brownlee points out, the video is maybe not that amazing or whatever. It just looks like you got the jitters, right? But he said that they can, for instance, set that thing so that it vibrates like the exact way that a specific motorcycle would vibrate when you're driving down the road on it. So, I mean, like I said, my first thought was, maybe Apple's not doing that much different. Maybe they're doing the stuff that everybody does. But it also sounds like they're kind of taking it like to the next level. I mean, some of this stuff, that's crazy. Oh, I want it to vibrate like a 1986 Sportster. That's nuts.
One of the details they said is that in testing before an iPhone is released, they make up to 10,000 or more devices that they just used to go through these tests, which is crazy. Like an order of magnitude higher than I thought they would.
I mean, that is bonkers. I mean, if you just do the math on that, I mean, what does an iPhone cost them? Let's just say $500. They're going to spend $5 million just destroying devices. I actually thought the part with John Turnus talking about why they glue things together and why they're difficult to repair yourself, that was kind of the first time I'd heard Apple speak out about this. And I was like, you know what, man? Yeah. Like, the reason that they're hard to repair yourself is because they have to go through all these crazy steps to make them so waterproof and so durable and so reliable. And there is this vocal minority of people, and no shade towards those people that want to fix things themselves. Most of us don't. Most of us want our device just to be reliable.
To not break in the first place.
To not break in the first place. Exactly. And I don't like, would it be nice to be able to swap out the iPhone's battery on my own? Yes. I think that would actually be a convenient thing to do. Aside from that, though, I don't really care to do any of those repairs myself, and I think most people, 99.578% of people, do not care to do those things themselves, and they would make the trade-off to have their phone be resistant to damage, to be waterproof in extreme conditions every single time. And this is the first time I've really heard Apple talk about why the phones are glued together and they're difficult to repair. Like, I've never heard that articulated anywhere, and they've just let people keep implying that Apple does it because they don't want to let you repair things, and that narrative has just remained, and no one has said anything to contradict that. But John Turnus, for the first time, actually gave us a reason why these things are difficult to repair, and I feel like they need to do a better job getting that message out there. Or maybe it doesn't matter because most people don't care. But I was like, yeah, so there actually is a good reason that they glue stuff together. I never really thought about that before.
Remember, like 10 years ago, how you would always have like that. 10 years ago in 2014, you had like a few people you knew who still had an iPhone 4 and like half of the buttons were broken.
Yes.
Like the home button's broken, all those things. And then like you see the one person who has like the accessibility feature with like the on-screen home button that they tap instead of like actually clicking it because like, oh, it doesn't work. Oh, the power button doesn't work. So I just, wait for it to turn off by itself.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Me too.
That rings a bell.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you would see those issues with phones all the time where the speaker would just stop working, right? And all of a sudden, like, your phone was fine, but there'd be one annoying little issue like that, and then you would have to decide whether or not you wanted to get a whole new phone. So if you haven't watched this thread, just go through and check it out. I'll put a link to the show notes because for some of you may not use the all-new X, and that's fine, but you can go and view it either on Cult-Mac or on X and watch all the videos. It actually really is interesting, and there's a bunch of videos here that he posted on how the iPhones are tested and why they do some of the things that they do. And, Apple being one of the most valuable companies in the world, maybe not the top anymore, and soon to be unseated, it is interesting to see what their testing methodology is and like what kind of equipment they're using, because they have unlimited resources to do these kinds of things, and no one's probably doing them as well as Apple is. And so it's interesting just to see how they do it.
The other thing I thought was weird about that was like that room didn't look especially fancy. It almost looked like, a little torture chamber, like you might see in Russia or something. It was remarkably un-Apple-y looking, that thing. I wonder where. I don't know if you ever mentioned where these were. Are these in Cupertino or?
I'm not
Probably
sure.
an undisclosed location.
Undisclosed, right?
But my sources tell me this is the same room you end up in if you leak too many Apple secrets and TC gets a hold of you.
He puts you on the shaker table.
That water cannon at the same time.
There's a few journalists who've seen this water cannon with Tim Cook at the opposite end, All right. What do we got next?
I do find that stuff fascinating.
I do too.
And the whole sort of manufacturing aspect of this stuff. I mean, if you think about what you're carrying around in your hands or strapping onto your face or, tossing in your backpack, it's really kind of incredible the way that this stuff is constructed. And I mean, that goes to anything, I suppose, in the modern world, but Apple seems to do a very, very good job at it. And I'm glad they're actually showing a little bit of behind the scenes stuff about what it takes to produce such a device,
Plus putting Turnus front and center, getting him ready.
He's got leadership potential, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Like that chin front and center, they would be unstoppable. All right. You want to mention this how-to real fast, Lewis, before we dive into what we're into?
Yeah, this is a little bit like the icon app icon makeover stuff coming to iOS 18 supposedly. Griffin put together a how-to on how to give your Mac a makeover with custom icons. We published that this week on Cult of Mac. I was confessing earlier that I didn't get a chance to read this entire thing yet. I think it just went up this morning. But Leander did. I'm sure it's beautifully edited and fantastic. But I was reading, I'm like, wow, I guess I felt really stupid. Like I didn't realize how much of this you could do. And there's this whole like world of Mac icon customization that like, what were you saying? There's like icon packs you can download and.
Yeah, you can find them online. I give some advice in the article. Like you can just search for these and you can find like alternate icons. There's a whole website called, I think it's just like macosicons.com, where if you don't like the Discord icon, well, you can, it's purple on white and I want it to be white on purple. You go to this website, you just search Discord and you can find a different Discord icon. I've done it with a few apps like that for the ones that don't offer first party, alternate icons. And another example is I have an external hard drive connected to my Mac, and I don't really like how the default Mac OS icon for an external hard drive is yellow. So I just made my own that's blue. Mm-hmm. And, I put it up on my website so people can download it if they want. It's really easy. You just hit Command-I, and then you just like literally drag the icon you want.
That's crazy. I didn't realize it was that easy.
And you can change the colors of the folders too?
Yeah, you can change the color of a folder. It used to be in classic Mac OS that it was easier to change the color of a folder. Like you could just like select a folder and then pick from a menu and change the color. And like in Mac OS now, you can like tag it with a color, but you can't change the folder icon unless you download custom icons and do it yourself.
God, I don't think I ever realized you could use those color tags. I sometimes I just feel like I just use the machine for one thing. I don't spend any time fancying it up. It's completely stock. I just feel like a loser when I do this kind of stuff. I read these kind of stories. It's like, dang, there's a whole other world of interesting stuff you can do. Anyway, definitely go to the site. I think it's at the lead of the website right now. You can always find it by going. I'm sure our search is so fantastic on cultofmac.com. If you just go in and search for it, you're 30% likely to find it.
So it's improved.
If you put in the exact headline, give your Mac a makeover with custom icons, I feel like you'll find it.
All right, cool. Well, we'll link to it in the show notes if you want to check it out, obviously. And I just wanted to give a quick mention before we move on to what we're into is my deep regret that I didn't sell all my Apple stock and buy NVIDIA. Why didn't I do it? My mom did it. I didn't do it.
Wow.
And NVIDIA is poised to be the most valuable company in the world. I don't know where this is going to stop. I really don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they're actually down 4% today, so maybe it's a good day to buy. They're up 85%. I'm sorry, they're up 8% in the last week. They're up almost 30% in the last month. Up 136% in the last 6 months. In the last 5 years, 3,100%. Meanwhile, Apple has just been going sideways for years. I don't know if that's going to change, but I'm kind of like, NVIDIA seems like they're poised to keep going. By the way, this is not advice. Definitely don't take advice from me.
Definitely not advice.
I'm still stuck in Apple stock, which I think will go up, albeit much more slowly in time. But NVIDIA is unstoppable, and their GPUs are what everyone is using for all of the AI farms that are being launched all over the place. But who knows, how long that's going to keep going. Or, if you consider geopolitical issues, let's say that, China, goes in and takes over Taiwan. Is that going to dry up the supply of microchips again? And now all of a sudden we have a shortage of GPUs and all the other chips that we all use. You just don't know what's going to happen. But NVIDIA is about to take over both Microsoft and Apple as the most valuable company in the world. I mean, it's probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks. They're already almost past Apple. I think Apple is at a $2.9 trillion of value or market cap. NVIDIA is now at 2.72. It was 2.8 something before it dropped today. But, it just did a massive rally this week, almost 8% in 1 week. Apple's not even up 8% for the whole year. And NVIDIA is doing it in 1 week. It is truly unbelievable. Holy moly. I don't know why I wanted to bring that up, but for those of you who own Apple stock or follow any of the stock conversations we've had in the past, and many of you know I own quite a bit of Apple stock. Unfortunately, I need to recalculate how much the value of my Apple stock is. I can't give an update right now because when I switched phones, I lost some of that data on my app. I need to recalculate it. Okay, look. That's it. I told you it was going to be short and sweet. Promises made, promises delivered. Should we go ahead and jump into... By the way, is Lewis frozen?
No.
He looks frozen on my screen.
I'm just tired.
Oh, he's definitely frozen.
Oh, great.
You're just...
Can you hear him?
You're staring... Yeah, I can hear him fine. He's staring off in the distance in deep approval, so that part's nice. Hey, Lewis, turn your video off and turn it off and on again. Try that. We'll try the IT crowd fix. And see. There it is. By Jove.
Hallelujah.
I think we did it. Okay. Let's hop into our final segment. And all new what we're into. I'm going to... Oh, great. It zoomed in on your face again, Griffin. All I see is your top right eyeball. Oh, never mind.
What?
Yep. Don't ask me why. Off the rails, man. Off the rails. I'm going to do something in this segment that I've literally never done before.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to go first. I'm going to allow one of you all to go before me. Talk about your stuff first, because mine might take a little bit of time.
Sure, I'll go first.
All right.
So I think people who listen carefully to the show and know my interests or maybe follow me on social media may think that there's a really obvious thing that I probably will talk about later. But right now, I'm actually going to do a pivot, as I typically like to do, and say that what I am into right now is a musician who I actually just saw live about 3 weeks ago, Alice Merton. You've probably never heard of her. I'll put
You're going to say Alice Cooper.
Yeah, little underground person. Anyways, Alice Merton, she had I think probably close to a one-hit wonder, like in 2016 or 2017, called No Roots. And I was like, man, this is a really cool, funky song. I wonder what else she does. And, it turns out she had a whole album at that point. I think now between they're probably technically EPs, LPs, and a few singles and albums, but she has about 5 albums worth of 4 or 5 albums worth of stuff on Apple Music and Spotify. Her earlier stuff, I think, is a little higher quality. Her most recent album, there are a few tracks on there where I'm like,
Sorry, what did you say her name was again, Griffin? I'm going to pull this up.
Alice Merton. Alice
Merton.
Yeah,
all right.
She's from
Frankfurt. She's European. She traveled all the way to Columbus, Ohio, and I saw her at the A&R Music Bar, which is right in the Arena District. Not a very big venue, but it was great. I was basically, and I was front row,
oh my,
close enough where we were making eye contact at several points throughout the show.
Oh, really? Making passing glances, huh?
I'll put in I recorded a quick video. I'll put it in the show notes for you to bring up on the live stream, Airphone. This is the closest that I've ever been, obviously, to to a live music, and it was incredible. Like I happened to notice I don't know if it's like her regular band or if it's just like, these people that she goes on tour with. But I noticed during the show that like I was wearing the exact same outfit as her keyboardist. Black shirt, gray pants.
Outfit.
Yeah, and I was like, I have a hunch. I looked it up after the show. He's definitely German, which is kind of hilarious. But anyways, it was great music. Like she played, basically her whole discography at this concert. I think some of her earlier hits that I love, some of the recent stuff from her most recent EP. And I will also say that it was a very faithful like recreation of her album's music. Sometimes you go to a live concert and it's like, well, they're hitting the same notes, but it basically sounds like a cover of their own song because like they don't have all the right instruments or things like that, or especially like the keyboard or the synths, they're not using the same sounds. But I would say it was it was like the ideal where it sounded like I was listening to the album, but it was just happened to be performing live. It was great. Good show. I think she's still currently on tour in Europe. If you live in Germany or Italy or around there, or London possibly, I think she's already passed through the US by now. But if you're in Europe, I highly recommend going to see Alice Merton.
Okay. Next time we go to Europe, Lewis, we know what we need to do.
I like the fact that she's from Frankfurt originally.
Okay. Alice
All
Merton.
right, well, never heard of her. What kind of music is it again?
It's pop music, but in my opinion, it's really good. It's not like,
pop.
It's not like churned out by executives and generic stuff. It's really good stuff. She has she doesn't have like almost all of her songs sound completely different to each other. It's a variety of styles, a variety of soundscapes, as it were. It doesn't really get old.
Are the songs in English?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I don't think I've ever heard like German pop songs.
Oh man,
have you ever heard of a band called Kraftwerk?
I don't think
Kraftwerk.
No.
Scorpions.
Well, they sang in English.
Oh well, kind of.
I mean like German bands that sing in German.
Rammstein.
I've heard of them. I feel like if you're gonna sing pop music, it's got to be Rammstein. I mean, like that's the only way you could. Can you imagine like a German love song? You know what I mean?
Just all guttural. Sounds like a dog fighting.
Sounds like two Klingons making love. Okay, sorry.
I love Germany.
I
I can't wait to get back.
I
there.
do too.
I'm gonna look for Alice Merton.
Okay.
I was traveling back from like a trip from Italy one time, and like I had an incredibly early flight at like 5 a.m. I think we were actually in the Frankfurt airport at a layover, and I was like incredibly tired. I was like getting a coffee and a breakfast at this place, and I hear this like stupid pop song playing over the speakers, and then I did a Shazam of it, and I listened to it in the car when I got back. It's called, and it's a real banger. It's an Italian pop song from like 1999 called La Regola dell'Amico, and I'll put it in the show notes. It's hilarious.
All right, sounds beautiful. All right, Lewis, you want to go next? I'll go last.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I may have come across this because of this show.
Really?
I started watching this last week, I think. It's not a brand new TV show. It's from 2019. It's called The Righteous Gemstones.
Dude, I'm the one that told you about this show.
You're the one that did it, right? Because it was the off-topic thing, wasn't it? Because we were talking about Walter Goggin.
Yeah.
Isn't that his name? Walter Goggin?
Walton
We
Goggins.
always screw that up.
I know. Is
Walton
that not? It's
Goggins.
a very unusual name because you want to say Walter since I've never heard of a Walton, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So you went down the rabbit hole researching that show. I think really put him on the map because his character was so beloved and became memed into eternity. And
you know what's unbelievable? I never even heard of this show. Never even heard of it. I've had HBO forever. I love Danny McBride.
Yeah.
I like the directing by oh my God, his name just flew right out of my head.
I'm pulling it up right now.
It's killing me. It's killing me. What's his name? Oh my God. I even interviewed the guy one time. Jody Hill. He's the guy who directed Observe and Report, if you ever saw that movie. Anyway, so The Righteous Gemstones, if you haven't seen it, it's about this family that runs a mega church, I guess you would call it, right? I don't really actually know where this thing is based, somewhere in the South. But it's got John Goodman playing like the patriarch of the family. It's got Danny McBride, who writes and created this show. He plays one of the sons of Eli. I guess Eli is the guy's name, right? John Goodman plays Eli Gemstone. And so it's Eli Gemstone, his son Jesse, played by Danny McBride, his daughter Judy, which is just a great character, played by an actress I'm not familiar with, Edie Patterson, and another son Kelvin, played by Adam Devine. And so, I mean, it's just, that show is, I mean, if you like that kind of like completely over the top, ridiculous humor, black humor, these people are, so they're basically, just as fake as you can imagine. They're cussing and swearing and drinking and all that. And I guess the inciting incident of that first season is, this is kind of a spoiler, but not really. I mean, how do you talk about it without it? But Danny McBride's character gets caught on a video doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And then he tries to somebody's trying to blackmail him.
Yeah.
He tries to kill some people. The whole thing, it just goes completely off the rails. And the characters are just so over the top and absurd, and all the nutty stuff they do. And like you're saying, Walter Goggins plays like, what is it, Uncle Baby Billy or something like that.
Right.
And oh my God, he's just the sleaziest, dirtiest fake preacher, right? I mean, they're all just like, oh my God. Anyway, I found it to be hilarious. I mean, it's certainly not to everyone's taste. It's very, it's a lot of swearing. There's a lot of
very crass. Yeah.
Very crass humor. Exactly. And, but man, if you like that kind of stuff, that show is great. I think, and I was, you mentioned, it was definitely, you mentioned that in that off topic, and you said, oh yeah, Goggins was in the Righteous Gemstones, and I clicked on that. I'm like, what is this? And I think part of the problem is the name. Like, it almost sounds like some kind of fantasy series, like it almost sounds like it could be, like if I saw that in a listing of shows, I'd probably think, oh, that's like some kids fantasy thing with Muppets. It doesn't sound like what it is, right? Am I wrong about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really have any meaning outside of the name of the family, and so you wouldn't really know what it was just watching it. And when you look at the episode artwork, it's just a bunch of people on a chariot. I mean, I'm sure they have multiple episode artwork for this show. But just by hearing the title, you would have absolutely no idea what it's about. But like Lewis said, it's about this family that runs a mega church, and like what their lives are really like, and the demons they struggle with, and how most of them are absolute hypocrites. Although
I've only watched one season. There's 3 seasons of the show. I've watched one,
okay.
And it was one of those things where I started watching it and couldn't stop.
I think there's an interesting. I mean, it's very critical of mega churches and pastors and stuff, which I think kind of annoys me because it kind of is. It's a trite criticism that
easy
you hear.
target.
Yeah, exactly. But like John Goodman's character, I think is kind of like part of the redeeming aspect of the show, in that like he actually has genuine faith. And like the reason he was able to build this church is because he actually believes what he says, and he is a good person, even though he's flawed. Whereas a lot of the other people, like in his family, are like these terrible people.
Yeah.
That are such massive hypocrites and are only there to like enrich themselves and their family. And like John Goodman can't stand it. And he's trying to figure out like how to manage this family of terrible people, but also pass on this church and help his children to grow into these roles that he wants them to have within this church family that he started. And then there's Walton Goggins' character, who is such a slime ball, but also like so incredibly lovable, and in how like much he just embraces his own his own sinful nature and just does things without excuse, and just created a really funny character that people meme constantly now. Like I
It's
see that
so
guy
great.
on TikTok all the time.
Now, see, I haven't seen that. I'll have to look for that. So, do you remember there's like one scene in the middle of the first season where it's a flashback episode where it's the kids, right? It focuses on the kids, and they got these child actors who really like captured the spirit of the adult characters. Do you remember that? Like the
No, I
birthday
don't.
party, Judy's birthday party. Oh my God, she's like just the most spoiled brat in the world, and Danny McBride's character is like a 12-year-old. It's completely obnoxious, and he ends up like getting drunk on beer that Uncle Baby Billy brings him, and I mean, it's
I
just,
do remember that now.
yeah. I mean, it's just a well-crafted show. If again, like the end result is this crass humor, right? I mean, it's not for the NPR crowd. It's
Yeah.
it's I start laughing just thinking about it. But the whole televangelists are crooked thing. I mean, you're saying like, oh, John Goodman's character. Well, he's also, a complete power player, like trying to put people out of business. Basically take over towns. He's like expanding his righteous gemstone universe. And
Yeah.
oh my God, it's just and the scenes where the daughter's always spurned because she's just kind of stupid and not very talented, and when Uncle Baby Billy starts trying to team up with her, and he starts he's really working her, really manipulating the hell out of her. Oh man, I don't know, man. This is some good comedy. I love that kind of stuff. I really love Observe and Report. I know some people hate that movie, but when that came out, I was just blown away by that.
Never heard of it. All right, well, it's called The Righteous Gemstones. It came out in 2019. It's available on I want to call it HBO. I guess it is HBO, but HBO is now on Max. How's that make sense?
Yeah, and there's 3 seasons. I believe there's a 4th one. It's been renewed for a 4th season. So
okay,
there's more
really?
to come. Yeah, I know.
I did not know that. I
shocking,
thought it was over. Wow.
Nope.
Okay, that's
One
very
more
cool.
coming.
See, I learned something here today.
One, so.
Okay, I'll keep mine quick, dude.
One thing you learned. One thing.
That's all I learned. That's one thing more than normal. So I'm going to pitch a couple shows that I have never watched. I've never done this on the show before.
What the?
And I'm trying to get to a point where I can watch these shows, but
what we think we're into.
These shows are, well, they're 2 shows that I found out about via TikTok. Dude, TikTok has an unbelievable ability to raise things that from obscurity back into the zeitgeist, man. It's unbelievable because people will share these things in really super small clips. And so you get like a little taste of it, and then everyone else starts making their own versions of it because they see that it's popular. And then you'll get like all the best one-liners from a show in a 1-minute clip on TikTok, and there'll be like 85 different versions. And so you become familiar with a show that you've never seen, and you can tell that you love the tone and tenure of the show and like the actors and stuff, but you've never actually seen it. So this kind of harkens back to my commentary, I think maybe 2 or 3 shows ago, where I was making that reference about Clem Vandango. I've actually never seen the show that reference comes from, called The Toast of London. Anyone hear about this show? Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've seen it.
You have seen it. So,
and when you were mentioning that, I was like, wow, I can't believe somebody else has seen this show, because it's such a weird cult comedy.
Yeah, I've never seen it. All I know is that this dude, Matthew Berry, has all these great one-liners from this show. And then the other show, which is more current, because Toast of London came out, I think, in 2015, and I think it had 4 seasons. And the one that I think is still on is called What We Do in the Shadows, which is also a Matt Berry show. And there is something about that dude, man. Like I feel like it's actually kind of hard to make me really laugh. Like the last movie that I saw that actually made me like laugh out loud, and I was just dying laughing, was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I want to watch that so bad. I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's on Paramount Plus. I think it might be. But in the movie, Nick Cage basically plays the meme version of himself in the movie. And there are a few scenes in that movie I was dying laughing. Like silent mode, crying, actual laughing, which does not happen to me very often. And I had that same reaction to the clips that I've seen of Matt Berry in these 2 shows. There is something about the way he delivers lines that absolutely cracks me up. And I was watching this on TikTok at my gym, and I had to stop because I'm like trying to do these like these sets where I'm lifting weights, and I kept failing because I would
Your
burst
life's
out.
in danger.
I'm like bursting out laughing, trying to like lift these heavy weights, and these lines were so funny. But I haven't been able to get the Toast of London. Like, it's not available anywhere. You actually
Really?
can't. It's not on a singles. Well, that's not true. There is one streaming network that plays it. It's called BritBox. It's like all British television, and I'm like, I don't really know if I want to subscribe to BritBox to watch this one show. I was hoping to buy like a box set of the DVDs. They don't exist. You have to buy all the seasons individually, which is a huge pain. I don't want to do that. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. Matt Berry was also in the IT crowd. He's also the voice behind what's the name of the bot in Fallout, Lewis? I can't believe I'm spacing out on this.
Oh, he's the voice of that.
He's the voice
thing.
of the robot in Fallout, the new Fallout episode.
Huh.
Or the new Fallout series.
I didn't notice that.
Mr. Handy. In the game, there's a robot called Mr. Handy, and in the movie or in the series, the robot makes an appearance. He's the voice of it. He's the new voice of it. And his delivery is just perfect. The way he delivers lines are so unbelievably original and comedic. It's a rare talent, man. And this new show, What We Do in the Shadows, is available on Hulu. You actually can stream it on Hulu. And I have seen so many one-liners from this show that had me absolutely cracking up that I actually might subscribe to Hulu just to watch this one show.
I will give that a slightly stronger endorsement of What We Do in the Shadows, because I haven't seen clips, but I have seen one episode of it, and it was also really great. Mark Hamill makes a cameo appearance in one episode as like a bit character, and it is absolutely hilarious.
So What We Do in the Shadows, I think, is written by Jermaine Clements, who has done a bunch of stuff on HBO before. God, what was the name of that show? Jermaine
Mighty Boosh, wasn't it?
Clements. I probably spelled his name wrong. Yeah, Jermaine. I think he's from New Zealand.
Oh, Flight of the Conchords.
Flight of the Conchords. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry.
He was in this show called Flight of the Conchords, which was another kind of like cult comedy that probably people either loved or hated it. I liked it, and I haven't seen him really in anything since. I know he's been in some stuff. He's in Men in Black too. I had no idea. Oh, he's in Moana. Who knew? But Flight of the Conchords came out forever ago. And then he started doing What We Do in the Shadows. I think he's a writer for What We Do in the Shadows. Or maybe he's the director. Oh, he's a director and the writer. Oh, along with Taika Waititi. He directed a bunch of the Thor movies. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. Anyway, so I haven't seen either of these shows yet. What We Do in the Shadows, Toast of London, but they are like at the very top of my list. Like I'm going to try and binge watch both these shows over the next 2 weeks, and maybe I'll pitch them again once I've actually finished.
Toast of London's pretty funny, man. I think what's funny about that guy is how sort of, he's got this amazing voice, and he just sounds so like, you feel like you trust him, like he could be a Churchillian leader. But the character is just such an obnoxious jerk, and he's just so delusional about his own talent. It's really pretty hilarious.
Yeah, so in Toast of London, I mean, isn't the premise that he is like an actor with a huge ego?
Yeah.
And to your point, like he thinks he's way better than he actually is, and so he's kind of a diva. And what his career and life is like living with that huge of an ego.
Oh, it's funny, man. It's been a while since I watched that, but yeah, it was laugh out loud funny.
And then What We Do in the Shadows, the premise is Viago, Deacon, and Vladislav are vampires who are struggling with the mundane aspects of modern life, like paying rent, keeping up with chores, and trying to get into nightclubs, and overcoming conflicts with their flatmates.
People loved the movie What We Do in the Shadows. I didn't
realize that was a movie.
I didn't like the movie that much, but I've heard good things about the show, so I don't know. I mean, it kind of sounds like what was that hippie show way back in the 80s or 90s or whatever?
I have
It's
no
like
idea.
4 London flatmates who were like, oh, what is no? My brain is not working right today.
It was a show?
Yeah,
I don't know. All right, look. I'm starting the music because we're all done. Griffin's pixels are shrinking and expanding, like his face keeps popping in and out of the picture. We're going to give someone a seizure. So we're going to go ahead. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The conversations continue in the very exclusive halls of the Cult Club. And you, too, could be in the Cult Club hanging out with me and Griffin and sometimes even Lewis. And there's all sorts of other perks that I can't possibly enumerate now. Plus, the perk of just feeling great that you're supporting the show. Just fork it over. It's only $5 a month. $5 a month. That's it. That's all it costs. $5 a month. I can't buy nothing for $5 a month. Well, you could buy our happiness. What's that worth to you? I think it's worth $5 a month. Support.thecultcast.com. Support.thecultcast.com. This has been the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, for hanging out live, and for bearing with us through all these tech issues. And we will see you guys next time. Let's go in for a quick one there. No, thank you, Gern. Thank you, Level Remix. Thank you, Mark.
Now I feel really old.
Just now,
that
you felt
show,
old?
that show I was talking about. It's called The Young Ones.
Let me guess, 1957.
Not quite that bad, but yeah, 80s, early 80s.
Ah, time flies, you know. Time
Ask
flies.
us about it sometime, Griffin. We'll show you what the 80s were like.
Yeah. It was a good time to be so young that you can't remember it. Or in Lewis's case, in your early 40s. Or in Leander's case, in his mid-60s. All right, everyone. I'm going to stop the stream now. Bye, y'all.